Okay, so this is probably one of the least professional looking and sounding videos. Uh, well, no, I've actually made worse. I did one of these while propped up in bed after surgery. Um, all kinds of sounds. Normally, I do this in my sunroom downstairs, but my son is home. Uh, he's an electrician and he travels for work, but he's finally back and his friends are here. And we have mold growing across the ceiling in our dining room because of a hole in our ceiling or in the roof and a fight with the insurance company. And I'm allergic. And I've had bronchitis since the beginning of June. So it's all kicking everything up. Because of the mold, nobody can use the dining room, which is normally where Pax and his friends spend the time when they come over. Since we can't use that, they're hanging out in the living room, which is connected to the sunroom where I normally make videos. So I'm just kind of hanging in my room all day, grading, and I wanted to make sure to get this video made so it's up for tomorrow. Um, so there you go. Now you know the reason. Not an excuse because it's still being made. Ha ha. Um, voice sounds horrible. I know. I'm working on it. Like I said, I've had bronchitis since the beginning of June. Whole big story there if anybody wants to know. The summer, a lot of what happened in the summer is part of why I made the reason versus excuse thing. There's a lot. I finally have an appointment Tuesday to go to a pulmonologist, and we're hoping that will help with the bronchitis issue. Um, so this video is not really a lesson type video. This is a feedback type video because I was behind. I am now caught up with all of the grading. So weeks 1, 2, and 3 are all graded and up. I highly, highly, highly suggest look for feedback. On the discussions, I use a grading rubric. Um, and I suggest you look at the rubric to see why you got what grade you got. Also, look for any written feedback because a lot of people got written feedback from me as well. Discussion one, where I asked about current topics that you're interested in, I made an announcement about it, and some of you were a tiny bit vague. You might not have meant to be, and it might just be the way that my brain works that I asked you for more details because I want to make sure I cover what you're interested in covering. So please look for that. For discussions 2 and 3, a few things I wanted to make sure to mention. The first is you always have to supply a source. And when you're supplying your source, I want it to be either a proper source, like where you have the name, the authors, all of that information. But most people are getting it from online. I would just like a hyperlink at the bottom so I or anyone else can easily click it and go see the exact article. Um, some people got feedback of do not have the hyperlink embedded with text in your post, in your writing, because that is very much something AI does. That is not something a typical person, a typical student does. That takes way more time and effort than just slapping it at the end. So that's one of those red flag things we look for that will automatically make it look like you're using AI instead of you actually doing the work yourself. So make sure not to do that. Also, speaking of AI, stop it. Don't use it. Use your own words. The number of people I gave feedback to about, I am not convinced you know what you're talking about here, or I am not convinced you wrote this, it's because you're not using normal people speak. And I require normal people speak. I want to feel like you actually sat down and wrote it. I get really sick to death of the AI thing. And I get that a lot of people think, but it gives me a quick and easy summary. When there are close to 30 students in each class, and I'm reading a lot of these, believe me when I say AI will keep using the same examples and the same phrasing. And so I see it a lot. Don't be that person. It's really not supposed to be super difficult. It's supposed to be for you to read and you to use your own brain, which since you're going to college, I kind of like to think you're wanting to use your brain and tell me what you think. Again, look at the grading rubric. The grading rubric is there. It tells you that you will get 0 points for one category if you use Wikipedia as a source. It tells you how many points you're going to lose if you fail to give me an opinion. I know that it's hard for some people to voice an opinion, but you have to clearly voice an opinion. That's part of your job as a student in my classes. Quotes. Oh, good God, stop it. Please. I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as I see a quote, I skip it. I do not read the quote. I will only read what you write because way too many people grab these huge long quotes and slap them in there in order to fill up space, and it's wasted. If you want me to know what it says, you better be the one telling me. So, quite a few people got feedback to watch this video, actually, and to stop using quotes. You do not need quotes to have a source. You are supposed to read something to get your information, put it in your own words, and tell me where you got this information. That's what citing a source is. I expect it to be your words. I do not want any quotes. The only way you can get away with a quote is if you're literally having to say what somebody said to prove a point, not to give you a bunch of information. There are some people out there who are using quotes that are like 3 and 4 lines long. It's ridiculous. Zero reason to ever do that. In the sciences, and political science is a science, you don't rely on quotes. You rely on this. You read, you digest, you reword. You need to be able to explain it in your own words, which brings me back to that point. Use your own words. Do not try to sound super duper academic. That's not how you talk. And a lot of it's really very obvious because your initial post is so horribly formal, very AI-like, and then your responses sound like an actual human. When your responses are not matching what you wrote, that's also a big red flag. Have I failed anybody for this yet? No. But I'm letting you know in my feedback if it looks like you're using AI. I'm letting you know in your feedback if it's extremely confusing because some people are also putting sentences in there that make no sense whatsoever. So take time, actually think about what you're presenting, and know that how you write and how well or it does not make sense actually is how people are going to think about whether or not you are smart or not smart. What I highly recommend is after you have written something, read it out loud. When you read it out loud, you will actually find more of your mistakes and then you can fix it. Because sometimes, and I'm one of these people, I get flagged for AI a lot, honestly, because of the way my brain jumps all over the place. Um, a lot of times your brain might be going faster than you type. And so entire sections of your sentence might not make it out. You're not even going to notice this when you read it in your own head because you know what you meant to say. So if you read it out loud, you are more likely to find the mistake. So try that. Um, don't forget all the rules for the discussion. Some of you are doing a great job at the discussion, but you're not following the rules. You lose a lot of points if your initial post was not done before 10 p.m. on Wednesday. If it's 10:03, guess what? That's after 10 p.m. Bam, you lose a bunch of points. You also have to be active on the discussion board, posting on the discussion board a minimum of 2 different days. So if you post only one day, you're getting 0 points for that section of the grade. This hurts you big time. You also need to respond to a minimum of 3 people. Some of you are phoning in the responses. I agree. I agree. I agree. And oh my gosh, some of you have copy and pasted the same response to multiple people, changing only a couple of words. Don't do that. You're not going to get full points. Some of you, incredible responses. Oh my gosh, I could not ask for better responses. But then you only respond to two, and I have to make you lose points because you didn't follow that direction. Um, Pay attention to exactly what you're doing. Also, you're writing. If you're putting I like yourself, it has to be capitalized. You need a space after the period. You don't squish it all together. And for the love of God, do not do all caps on anything you turn in, whether it's a discussion or a quiz answer. Do not do all caps. It feels like you're shouting at me. Um, I provided some feedback to a few of you in the reason versus excuse. So if you feel like looking at it, go for it. Most people, I didn't put much feedback, but a few of you got some feedback. For the extra quizzes, for extra quizzes for the first 3 weeks, if you did not submit the extra, but you opened it, I went in there and manually submitted them and got them turned in for you. So you should have access. I am not doing that again. If you open a quiz and you don't submit it, it's just going to stay there. And the reason this is important to know is if it has not been submitted, I don't think you can reopen it. And you want these answers down the road. Um, Also reminds me for your quizzes and your extras, they're supposed to be where after they're locked, you can go in and look at them. I need somebody to tell me if it's working. Um, So I'm leaving it here in the video to see who's actually paying attention. So somebody, please go to like quiz 2 or quiz 3 and try to review it. See if you can see the questions and answers because I want you to have them for the exams. And I think I have everything clicked properly, but I'm not going to know until somebody tells me. So please, please, please let me know. Let's see. What else was there? Um, Hopefully you've been talking with your groups. A lot of stuff's coming. Um, I haven't been super interactive in the discussions on the discussion board, but as I've been grading them, I'm putting comments in there. So again, while you also look at the rubric to see why your grade is what it is, make sure to look at the feedback too. Some of it I've already covered, like the insanity of the quotes and the possible, most likely use of AI and citing your sources. But other times I am actually commenting and I'm having a nice little discussion in there. So it'd be cool if you look. If you don't, whatever, your prerogative. But just know I am actually reading everything you write and I am commenting if something jumps out at me. Am I going to try to be more interactive in the discussions while they're open? Yes, I would like to be. Um, I'm having a hard time making it happen currently. My plan is like I wrote it down and everything. Woohoo. That on certain days I plan to log in and try to comment to stuff. And I try to do it before Wednesday. This week, however, is a little crazy. Last week was crazy because Dragon Con. And then I've been trying to catch up from there, and you can tell lungs are not doing so well. And Tuesday, I go to the pulmonologist, and I don't know what that's going to bring. Hopefully, medication and make this stuff work better. Thursday, my mom is having another medical procedure where they're doing an angiogram and hoping to keep a vein from collapsing in her leg. She just had a cadaver vein put in, I think, a month ago, and it's already starting to narrow and collapse. And if it fully collapses, then she's probably going to lose her foot. So I'm going to be in the hospital all day Thursday. And I'm going to be tutoring somebody while I'm there on the computer, but trying to get whatever work done I can also. Um, when you guys gave me your reasons and excuses, and I made the video, I tried to cover a lot of topics. I do not remember if I told you how many flipping jobs I have. And at times that makes things rather difficult. At the moment, I am still setting these classes up. And so I have a American government class and a global politics class. The American government class is set up all the way to week 7 because last year at week 7 is when the hurricanes hit. And instead of being a smart person and just making all the stuff I had invisible to the students and posting new things, I deleted everything and put stuff to keep track of you and to help you not get bad grades and stuff. And so I have to rebuild. For the global politics class, um, I got it like maybe 2 weeks before the semester began and didn't even have access to the textbook until a week before. And I am setting it all up on the fly. Then you take into account that I decided this term I also wanted it to be way more current and interactive than just blindly looking at a textbook, which is why I asked everybody for topics. So now I'm in the process of trying to put all those topics into the new things. So I have through week 4 ready, and I'm working on week 5 and trying to update things. Um, so depending on how much research and stuff I do to set up each new week, that affects how interactive I am in the front part of the class, like interacting in the discussions while they're taking place. Um, so I'm wanting to explain why you might not be seeing me, but I am interacting with you on the back end of it all. So when I'm grading, I am still interacting with you in feedback for the discussions. So again, if you want to know my take on what you're doing, make sure to read your feedback. Let's see, let's see. I swear there's something else, but I really can't think of it right now. Um, I talked about the quizzes and pushing. I talked about making sure you can see them. I talked about discussions, quotes, AI stuff, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think that's mostly it. Um, if anybody wants to meet with me, like one-on-one with a Zoom, let me know. And oh, that's the other thing. Don't forget when you took the syllabus quiz, there were very specific things in there. And I highly suggest checking again because quite a few people are still contacting me through Brightspace instead of an actual email. And you're waiting like 2 days for a reply because I don't log into Brightspace every day. So take a look again at the syllabus and the quiz with some of these basic rules. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So, da 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 da. Yeah. If you need anything, contact me. I will reply. And if you want to meet one-on-one to discuss stuff, like there were some people where feedback I gave you was, I'm willing to chat with you about things like um, time management, how to work with that, or nutrition, that kind of stuff. So if I've said anything and you're like, yeah, I would really like that, shoot me a message. We'll do our best to set up a Zoom session. Ooh, but that's where I was. I told you, totally distracted. Sorry. Um, if you include my freelance tutoring, I have 7 jobs. And that is why I have to schedule things in a very specific way. And I am 100% willing to meet with you, but I need advance notice so then I can find where I have a slot and then we can make it work out. I have an accidental day off this month on Monday because a trip I was taking got canceled because my boyfriend has COVID. And so we didn't do the trip this weekend we were going to do. And Monday is legitimately the only day off I have this entire month. So when I say I need advance notice for us to make a meeting, I'm not kidding. Um, but I am 100% willing to meet with you. And I guess that is it. Sorry for the shakiness, but I'm legit balancing the laptop on my knees. And I'm hoping you enjoy some of my ducks. There are more ducks, just so you know. There are more ducks. I love ducks. There's also more over there. See, more ducks. Um, it's a thing. Anyway, uh, I guess that's it, and peace out.